Hello students. In the previous lectures, in respiration chapter, we have discussed about respiration, introduction, difference between aerobic, anaerobic respiration, respiratory substrates. After that, uh, glycolysis process, which is the first step in the cellular respiration, which is not a single step process, it is 10 step process. After that, we have discussed after the product of the glycolysis is the pyruvic acid. If it continue with the anaerobic mode of respiration, that is without involvement of oxygen, then it may produce lactic acid or it may produce ethanol. Okay, lactic acid is produced in a single step, while ethanol is produced in two steps. First is decarboxylation, another is dehydrogenation. And if this pyruvic acid enter into the aerobic mode of respiration, which is common in aerobic, which is common in eukaryotic cells except fungi and yeast, then it will follow the link reaction. After that, Krebs cycle. In the Krebs cycle, we have seen that the glucose molecule is completely oxidized and produce CO2, water and large amount of ATP in overall reactions. While in anaerobic reaction, we get only two molecules of ATP, and glucose also do not completely oxidized. Either glucose, which is 6 carbon compound, it will form the lactic acid, that is 3 carbon compound, or it may produce 2 carbon compound, that is ethanol. Okay, now as we have following the aerobic respiration in the last lecture, so after the Krebs cycle, we have seen that some NADH2 were formed and FADH2 were formed. I explained earlier that this is also a form of energy, and it will give you the ATP energy when it comes under electron transport system. Okay, so today we will discuss about electron transport system, and we'll know that how NADH2 and FADH2 will produce ATP energy. Okay, so two NADH2 molecules we get in the glycolysis during the sixth step, and in the link reaction also we get two molecules of NADH2. Then Krebs cycle, in Krebs cycle occurs twice, so in one cycle we get uh, two, you can see here, one, two, three molecules of NADH2 per cycle. So overall 6 NADH2 we get from the Krebs cycle, 2 from the link reaction and 2 from the glycolysis. So total 6 plus 2, 8, and plus 2 means total 10 NADH2 molecules we have. Okay, and FADH2 molecule, only one FADH2 molecule is produced in the Krebs cycle, one Krebs cycle, so total 2 FADH2. So in the end of this reaction, we have 6 NADH2 and sorry we have 10 NADH2 and 2 molecules of FADH2. So how this electron transport reaction will run and it will give the ATP, now we will discuss about it. So what is ETS? ETS, electron transport system. You can see this one here. Actually this is what is this thing. You know about the mitochondria. If this is the mitochondria, this is the outer membrane, then this one is the inner membrane of mitochondria. Okay, so this is the intermembranal space. This is written here, intermembranal space, this part. Okay, and after that, inner mitochondrial membrane means this thing. This is represent the inner mitochondrial membrane, and inside the membrane, this is matrix, liquid part is the matrix. Okay, so only the one part is visible here, means this thing is visible. So this is intermembranal space, this is inner mitochondrial membrane, and this one is the matrix part. So this is visible in the diagram in a corner. Okay, so in this inner mitochondrial membrane, you know, these electron transport system means electron will transport through a system, means this electron will run in the system. This system is actually made by some proteins. These are some carrier proteins. These all are some carrier protein which transfer the electron, which is either released from NADH2 or from FADH2. Here FADH2 is also there. So the electrons are released, electrons and protons both are released, and these electrons, protons are transferred to intermembranous space, but electron get transferred from one carrier protein to another, from one to another. In this way, this is called electron transport system. So this is a metabolic pathway through which the electrons are transferred from one carrier protein to another carrier protein. This is known as electron transport system. And in the end, this electron is received by the oxygen molecule, half oxygen molecule, and combined with the hydrogen to produce water molecule. Okay, so this electron ultimately produce water molecule by with the help of hydrogen ions and half oxygen molecule. So this is the overall electron transport system. And in this process, oxidative phosphorylation is also taking place. I have already tell you about what is oxidative phosphorylation. Oxidative means this respiration process is also known as oxidation, and phosphorylation means production of or addition of phosphate or production of ATP. So here, due to oxidation, ATP will be produced, therefore it is known as oxidative phosphorylation. Means the proton, you can see in this reaction, protons means these hydrogen ions or the protons, they get accumulated in the intermembranous space, due to which a gradient is formed of the hydrogen ion. Means hydrogen ions or the proton are present in excess amount towards the intermembranous space, so it is deficient in the matrix, due to which a proton gradient will be formed. So due to this gradient, when proton will release from this side to this side, because you know the diffusion process, and I will discuss about it later, then how it will produce the ATP molecule. This is involved in the ATP molecule production. When this hydrogen ions with some force, it will transfer from this part to this part, then ATP will be formed, and this process is known as oxidative phosphorylation. This is very short, in very short I explained you, but now I will tell you all the things in very much detail. Okay, so as I have told you that in electron transport system, electrons are transferred from one carrier proteins to the another carrier protein, but these carrier protein form some complexes. Complexes means a group of some carrier protein, it will produce some complex. So these all complexes or the proteins are present in inner mitochondrial membrane. Okay, and it is how many complex will be from here? Total 5 is given here, but actually for the electron transport only these 4 complexes are involved. This 5th complex is involved in ATP synthesis. So it is not involved in electron transfer, it is involved in hydrogen ion or the proton transfer. Okay, but for the electron transport system only these 4 complexes are involved. So first complex is known as complex 1, or it is also known as FMN complex, or it is also known as NADH dehydrogenase complex. You know the NADH2, we in the glycolysis and the Krebs cycle we get NADH2 and FADH2. So it contains hydrogen ions and electron. These hydrogen ions and electrons, it will produce some productive output like water and ATP. So it will release and give you the ATP and water. So NADH2, it will dehydrogenase. Dehydrogenase means hydrogen will release from NADH2, so therefore it will convert into NAD+. So hydrogen along with the electron also it will released and accepted by the first complex. Therefore this first complex is known as NADH dehydrogenase. It is also known as FMN complex because it is produced by this FMN protein is involved in the formation of this complex. Okay, the second complex is known as succinate dehydrogenase. succinate dehydrogenase. It is means in this part here FADH2 is present and it will lose the electrons and hydrogens, okay, here, and it will convert into FAD plus, and these hydrogen and electron will release into this complex. So this is known as complex number 2 or succinate dehydrogenase. This succinate dehydrogenase enzyme is also involved in Krebs cycle. Okay, so this complex is the succinate dehydrogenase, this one. Okay, and after that complex number 3 is involved, which is known as cytochrome B1 complex. You can see here, this is cytochrome B, then iron sulfur, then OH, then cytochrome C1, and then cytochrome C. So all these complexes together known as complex number 3. All these proteins together known as complex 3 or cytochrome BC1 complex. And in the end, complex number 4 is there. So it is also known as cytochrome AA3 complex. It is also known as cytochrome oxidase complex. Okay, so these complexes are involved in electron transport. Complex number 5, it will I will discuss it about later, because it is not involved in electron transport. It is only involved in proton diffusion, due to which ATP will be formed. Okay. Okay, so now you know about the complex number 1, 2, 3, 4, but these complexes are not given here in a proper sequence, and some points are missing, but I will tell you all the things. The electrons which is coming from the complex number 1 is transferred to the complex number 3, not the 2, and after the 3 this electron will transfer to the complex number 4. Okay, so there is some mobile electrons also, means these proteins are fixed here, but along with that, these fixed proteins, some mobile electron carriers are also present, like ubiquinone, UQ. Ubiquinone is present in between complex number 1 and 3. So ubiquinone helps in transferring the electron in between complex number 1 and 3. Similarly, one cytochrome C, this is also a carrier mobile carrier protein, which helps in transfer of electron from complex 3 to complex number 4. Okay, and along with these mobile electron carriers, which helps in transfer of electron from complex 3 from 1 to 3 and from 3 to 4 by ubiquinone and cytochrome C. When FADH2 is this is for NADH2, this is electron which is released from NADH2, but at complex number 2, when FADH2 is coming, FADH2 along with the 2 hydrogen and 2 electrons, then the electron and hydrogen which is released at complex number 2, this will directly move through the ubiquinone to the complex number 3. So it skip the complex number 1, and rest things are same, means the electron which reached on complex 3, it will transfer to complex number 4. I think you understand all the thing. Electrons from 1 is skip the complex number 2, it transfer to the 3 and then 4. Electron from 2 skip the complex number 1, it transfer to this complex 3 and then complex number 4 through ubiquinone and cytochrome C mobile electron carriers. Okay, so now you can see this diagram. Okay, this is FMN, or the first complex. NADS2 is oxidized here, so it will convert into NAD plus. 2 protons, 2 electrons, which is released, is taken up by the FMN complex or complex number 1. This is proton as well as electron carrier, so it receives both the things, 2 protons and 2 electrons. But the next complex is not the proton carrier, it is only electron carrier, so it receives the electrons. This complex number 3 will receive the electrons but do not receive the protons, so it will send into the intermembranous space. This proton is not carried by the next carrier. Okay, so in between these two mobile electron carrier, ubiquinone will help. This is complex number 3, and after that this electron is transferred through the various electron carriers ultimately to the cytochrome AA3, that is 4th complex. From here this electron will transfer into the matrix where 2 hydrogen ions will receive these electrons along with the half O2, so it will produce 1 water molecule. In this way, when NADS2 will release 2 hydrogens, it will transferred into the intermembranous space, and when it is transferred through the various electron carriers, only electrons are transferred. But at some places, like at this place, again these are proton as an electron carrier, so when it will receive the electron from its previous electron carrier, it will also receive the protons, but proton will come from the matrix every time, so it will receive the protons. This proton electron transfer to the next electron carrier, and when we talk about cytochrome B complex, it is only electron carrier, so it receive the electrons but pumped these hydrogen into the intermembranous space. So in this way 2 more hydrogen is coming to the intermembranous space. Similarly, you can see here this is also a proton as well as electron carrier, so it receive the proton as well as electron. Proton will come from matrix. This arrow is towards this side. Okay, proton. But the next complex is not the proton carrier, it is only electron carrier, so again proton have to pump into the intermembranous space, and electron will transfer to the next carriers, and ultimately it will involve in the water production. So in this way, by the oxidation of one NADS2 molecule, 2 plus 2 plus 2, total 6 hydrogen molecules, hydrogen ions, or you can say protons, are transferred into the intermembranous space. Okay, and when we talk about the oxidative phosphorylation, means complex number 5th, then only 2 protons will involve in 1 ATP production, but due to NADS2, total 6 hydrogen ions are present here, so total 3, because 2 are involved in 1 ATP molecule, so these 6 involve in 3 ATP molecule production. Okay, later it will discuss later. So in this way, one NADS2 contain 3 ATP molecule, because it is involved in transferring of 3 times 2 hydrogen ions towards the intermembranous space, and when it will make the proton gradient, it is responsible for the production of 3 ATP molecule total. So you can say that one NADS2 is equal to 3 ATP molecule. Okay, now if we talk about FADS2, means in complex number 2, here when this FADS2 will release or will oxidize, it will convert into FAD plus, and the 2 protons, 2 electrons, it is now the upper part is skipped. So in this way, when electron and proton will transfer in the same manner, and then at 2 places 2 protons will be transferred into the intermembranous space, and electron will ultimately produce 1 water molecule. So in this way, as you know, in the complex number 5th, 2 protons are required to production of 1 ATP molecules, and total 4 hydrogen ions are here. So you can say one FADS2 is equal to 2 ATP molecule. because it is responsible for the production of 2 ATP molecule. Understood? Okay, so in the end you can see here, when this reaction completes, then now we will talk about the oxidative phosphorylation. So it is written here, one NADS2 give rise to 3 ATP molecule, one FADS2 will give rise to 2 ATP molecule, and the oxygen in the end, protons and hydrogen and the electron ultimately will produce one water molecule. So phosphorylation, now we will discuss about it. Okay, so this is the fifth complex, you can see here, and it is also known as ATP synthetase, because in complex number 5 ATP synthesis is present. So when hydrogen ions are accumulated towards the intermembranous space in the inner mitochondrial membrane, you already know about the F0 complex. F0 forms the base, F1 forms the head part, and this F1 is actually contain ATP synthetase enzyme. So when proton is accessed towards the intermembranous space, then due to the gradient, a proton motive force is generated. Due to this proton motive force, this hydrogen ion will transfer from this space into the matrix. But as this is the proton, and proton cannot cross the this membrane, inner mitochondrial membrane, so it can only come out through the proton channel, and F0 F1 will act as proton channel. This F0 part is actually act as proton channel, and this F1 part contain the ATP synthetase enzyme. It will activate only when the protons will transfer through it with a force, and when it will activate, then ADP plus inorganic phosphate, it will get combined and produce one ATP molecule. So two protons when transferred from this part into the matrix, then F1 part ATP synthesis will activated, and it combined ADP plus PI to produce one ATP molecule. And I have already tell you that NADS2 for the one NADS2 3 ATP will be there, because total 6 hydrogen ions are present towards this side because of one NADS2, and for each FADS2 total 4 hydrogen ions are here, so it is responsible for the production of 2 ATP molecule. So this is known as oxidative phosphorylation, because these protons are accumulated here due to the oxidation of FADS2 and NADS2, and now its movement involved in the ATP production, so it is known as phosphorylation. So this process is known as oxidative phosphorylation. Okay, so here we have discussed about the overall process. Now in the next lecture we will discuss about respiratory balance sheet, means at every step, like in the glycolysis, in the Krebs cycle, in the link reaction, and in the last part ETS and oxidative phosphorylation, how many after overall reaction in this aerobic as well as anaerobic part, how many ATP molecules are produced in different steps. This is known as respiratory balance sheet, means how much ATP we get in different steps. Okay, so read by yourself about this part. No need to mugging up. If you understood all the things, then it is very easy, and in the live lecture I will also tell you about all these points. Okay, thank you class.